Person of the Year. And in 2006, Time magazine voted you, everybody in the world, as the Person of the Year, because that was seen as the penultimate year where the consumer took charge. If you think about let's talk about something that's not travel. Let's talk about supermarkets for a second. If you think about where the balance of power used to lie, the balance of power used to lie with the supplier. So it used to lie with the farmer who would make products, and then they could charge what they like because the distribution of that product was so fragmented through multiple little high street shops around lots of little villages. And then, of course, the supermarkets came along and aggregated all of that demand into a few big stores, and all of a sudden, the retailer takes control and starts pushing the suppliers and squeezing the suppliers. And then, of course, the consumer comes along and says, well, do you know what, I'm pretty powerful now. I can compare really easily online and I can decide where I'm going to shop. And if somebody's rude to me, I'm going to blog about it, and then everyone's going to know that that supermarket's a bad place to go. So, truly, the consumer, us, you, your customers, are the ones that are in charge. So they get to decide where they want to shop and book, not you. My point is there's no such thing as an online customer. We think about the hotel business, and we've got actually a pretty complicated set of distribution. I would actually argue that airline distribution is pretty complicated, and I've talked to a lot of consultants about this. Hotel distribution is probably more complicated these days, especially because there's more coming through other channels than direct channels, where the airlines are getting a lot more. They kind of won that battle a few years ago and are getting a lot more direct through their own website. So hotels are actually the most complicated travel distribution arena. It's pretty easy to buy, rent a Ford Focus or something like that. So I would stick to hotels are the difficult bit. We've got call centres. We've got to direct to the hotel and the hotel's own website and the hotel's own call centre. We've got GDSs. We've got multiple online travel agents. And I would challenge the middle. I'm probably squarely in the middle, so of course I'm going to challenge that. But in America, yes, the middle collapses because you've got two things. You've got 70-80% of the hotel stock in the US is branded, right? In the rest of the world, particularly where we're sitting in Europe, 70-80% of the hotel stock is unbranded. So how do you aggregate that and become a major player? And if I was you guys in hotels, I wouldn't want there to be 2 or 3 big companies that control all the supermarkets. I'd want to keep as many small retailers as you physically can. So that's why it's important to keep thinking about how do you work with all these other more niche players. Here's another interesting fact about multi-channel. So this comes directly from the Focusrite research that was published recently. And for the first time, Focusrite are starting to split out how much is booked, not in travel in general, but in hotels. So how much is booked through an online travel agent versus how much is booked through the hotel. And so I've got the UK and Italy as 2 examples here. And what you can see, if you look at the bottom percentage, let's see if the laser pointer works. If you look at the bottom percentages, so if I just take the little arrow here, so if you look at these bottom percentages down here, what you can see is that the percentage of customers who are choosing to book through an online travel agent is growing, not declining. So 50-50 pretty much. And then look at Italy down here. It's starting at 71% and it's sort of gone up to 74-75%. So 75% of people in Italy want to book through an online travel agent, not directly with the hotel. That's pretty, well, it's not alarming, it's just the way it is. But if I was a hotelier, I'd be alarmed by that because I want to figure out how I manage that effectively. And it's not one travel agent, it's a lot of travel agents that's coming through. And by the way, in these reports, when you start stripping back, who are the big players? Booking.com are a big player. Expedia, actually, is not that big a player relative to the rest of the market. And so I think Expedia, when it comes down to pure hotel, and you look at what percentage is booked through Expedia, in the UK it's about 11%. Of online travel agent hotel bookings. So I think we've all got a lot of work to do here. So I think the question is, who are these middle players and who is going to be the ones that play out? Really importantly, the purchasing process is no longer a linear thing. It used to be quite a linear thing where somebody would say, right, well, this is a classic marketing model. I studied marketing at university, and this is the kind of stuff that I learned. So you've got, they call it AIDA sometimes, awareness, interest, desire, action. And this is awareness, research, consideration, preference, purchase. So that's the way it used to go. I think now it looks like this, where you've got a spaghetti of information and choice. And it's not just about where you're booking, it's about where you're getting your information from. You've got, if you think about criteria for buying a hotel? What are customers' top buying criteria?
Price.
Location, price. I think it's the third one. Quality, right? So some kind of quality. So location, you're going to get that. Maybe Google, whatever, will give you that. Price is going to be a meta search engine. So you've got your travel supermarkets and Volagratis and all those sorts of guys in the world. And then you've got your quality, which is something like a TripAdvisor or an OTA's own reviews. So you've got this multiple sources of information. Before you even get round to making the booking, where you're jumbling around this fear. And word of mouth is back, and I say it's on steroids because you've got this huge amount of information. If you look at all these things that you can do, because that's the question: what does social media mean? What does that actually mean? And what do you do about it? And I'm going to come back to what you do about it in a second, because I've got some things that I'd like to sort of give us pointers on how you do this. But the answer, of course, isn't jump feet first into all of these things and stick your hotel all over the place. That's not the answer. The answer is, how do you understand how your customers are interacting with that, and how do you make sure you're portrayed in the right way while they're talking about you? So let's come back to that in a second. But it's huge. The information sources are massive. But the important thing is the customer is multi-channel. There is no such thing as an online customer. It's a myth. Customers don't think that way. Customers may prefer to go through the online channel, but they will use multiple channels, and they may even pick up the phone. It's kind of interesting, Expedia's 20%, I'm about 9% of my bookings come over the phone, and actually depending on the market, so if you were to go into China, I 100% agree, I'm not going into China. It's a far too complicated market. So if you go into China, you're not going to launch an online travel agent, you're going to launch an offline travel agent with a website. That's what you're going to do. And so you have to recognise and understand that. And actually, just over the border in Italy, you have to accept a lot of your bookings are still going to come over the phone because, frankly, customers don't trust putting their credit card into a website yet as much as they do in other countries, same in Germany. So that's multi-channel. And it's not just about bookings. It's about a whole experience. So you think to yourself, why is somebody choosing to book with this website or that website? If it was just about booking your individual hotel, why aren't they coming and booking your hotel directly with you? It's a good question to ask, and also it's a question I ask myself as an online hotel retailer. My differentiation is not the hotels that I sell. I wish it was, but it isn't. If somebody is hell-bent on buying the Bellagio in Las Vegas, they could buy that through me, they could buy it through Expedia, they can get it through Booking, they can get it anywhere. What differentiates it is the customer's preference around the experience they have interacting with your retail website. So that's the thing we've got to focus on if we want to make a difference. So multi-channel, searching, shopping and buying. And let's just talk about that experience. This could be anything. I've taken a screenshot of all the online travel agents that I can think of. And by the way, I'm not saying Octopus is any better at this just now, but it's where we strive to be better. And it's where the industry needs to be better. Even at the hotel chain level. These searches are dire. They're terrible. You think about the good old days when you walked into an offline travel agent and you went in and you said, hi there, I'd like to go to London for a weekend break. They didn't go, bam, there's 720 hotels. Have a flick through them and let me know when you're ready to talk about it. That's impossible. The result set is impossible. I don't know what the scientific, there's a lot of academics, you tell me how many choices somebody can manage, but it's certainly not, so there you go, 7, thank you. 7 hotels would be something that we'd want to compare. So the question is, how do we get that list down to 7? The challenge, of course, is that hotels are not